Good afternoon. Thank you for coming to the Rocky Fire Community Meeting. I'm going to give you a little housekeeping. We're going to start with, at the end of this presentation, there'll be time for questions and answers. I do ask that you have questions. Please do not relate any stories. We are on a time constraint, as you can imagine, with the ongoing fire. So if you see fire, tell your law enforcement to get up and leave. Not to worry, then you can go back and re-engage. Media, if you would please, hold your questions until after the Q&A. And if there is any applause, please hold that to the end. Again, we need to keep going fairly quick. At the end of the presentation, we have different areas in the back and in the front, such as air quality control, Red Cross, animal control, and whatnot, that you can meet face to face if you have any questions, as well as OES, Salvation Army Red Cross. At this time, I'd like to make some introductions real quick. First, I'd like to introduce Chief Linda Green, Lake County Fire Protection Fire Chief, District Fire Chief Billy Cepeda, Cal Fire Chief Mike Chirac, Lake County Sheriff Brian Martin. I think we've become brothers. Too much time together. Clear Lake Police Chief, Chief Lawson. Board of Supervisor, District 2, Mr. Smith. Senator Mike McGuire. Congressman Mike Thompson. Onward, Cal Fire Incident Management Team 2IC, Scott Lindgren. He's the one running the show. Cal Fire Incident Management Team 2, Sean Kavanaugh, WIC. North County Fire Authority, Ron Myers, one of our liaisons, along with Mike Martin from Cal Fire. Excuse me. All right, from Red Cross, we have Jeff Baumgartner. BLM, we have Rick Burns and Tim Jones. Lake County Air Quality, Doug Earhart. OES, Marissa, I'll leave it at that. Lake County Animal Control, I'll leave that one too, Mr. White. PG&E, Pam Purdue. And Behavioral Health, Linda Lovejoy, and Salvation Army. All right, what we do is we'll get started, and what we're going to do is what we call painting the picture to what took place on the initial attack of this incident. We're going to start with Linda Green.
Good afternoon. My current assignment is I normally work at our headquarters office down in St. Helena, which is where I was at when this fire started. The initial report was for a possible structure fire out at the end of Rocky Creek. When our first aircraft got overhead, they reported 25 to 30 acres, a little bit of spotting. One of our battalion chiefs, Greg Patelli, got in there shortly thereafter, and his initial report was 50 to 100 acres, and it was starting to spot. We had for us, we call it a high dispatch, and we had that going on the initial report of the structure fire. As our helicopter from Boggs Mountain got into the general fire area, we reported a second fire from Morgan down the road, about 4 miles away from the initial report. Their report on that was 10 to 15 acres and was spotted. The decision was made to immediately divert all the incoming ground resources to the second fire. Within the next 5 to 10 minutes, there was a third report of the fire on Highway 20 by New Long Valley Road. We were a little stretched. So our initial attack plan was to try and go aggressively after the second fire. We had additional resources coming in from out of the unit. So a group of engines happened to be driving by Highway 20 at New Long Valley Road and jumped on the third fire, put it out at an acre. By 4:30 in the afternoon, maybe an hour into the entire incident, the combined acreage was at 150 acres with a rapid rate of spread, and our temperature, weather that we're dealing with at that time was 102 degrees in the county, 7% humidity, and south wind 7 plus. By 5 o'clock, within 30 minutes, evacuations were being called for on Oregon Valley Road and down towards the community Lower Lake. At that time, they shifted from the initial attack priority, went from perimeter patrol to life safety, evacuations, and structure protection, all along the Oregon Valley area. By 6 p.m., the fires were obviously going to, 2 fires along Oregon Valley Road were growing together. It's very obvious. 500 acres. The incident management team was put on order because in August, our unit management, the fire was going to go big. Within 15 minutes, the latest update was 1,000 acres with long-range spotting, which were, in our terminology, that is a half-mile plus spotting areas. About midnight or so, we had an infrared light map of the fire, and it was 7,000 to 8,000 acres at that time. So all our troops were very busy in structure protection, and they are starting to take some action on the Staley Lane area and trying to find an anchor point for a fallen leadership.
Thank you, Linda. Eric, I am Scott McLean. I am Team 2's Public Information Officer. Next, we'll have Willie Cedillo speak, please.
Our role, this is actually our fire protection district. We did conventional attack with a complement of resources. Coordinated efforts with the first grade battalion there to unify our commands. We want to share our resources, order additional resources, and then as a city, to. Okay, how's that? It was within our fire district, so our response was initial attack, of course, mobilization of resources, working closely with CAL FIRE as a coordinating agency, order additional resources, and coordinate efforts for not only fire suppression, but that of evacuation. The entire time maintaining continuity of service to the rest of the community. So it was a unified effort of all of us getting in there and coordinating these resources, different channels, different agencies. So it was a work in progress.
Thank you, Chief. Next, I'd like to introduce Chief Mike Schrock, who will go over Operation Current.
Good afternoon, Mike Schrock. I come from Butte County, Oroville, California. On Wednesday when the fire started, we had a little 400-acre fire over there that we were working on and we were fortunate enough to catch. And near midnight, they activated a team to come over, and I've been a guest here in Lake County for the last 5 days. But in my 40 years with CAL FIRE, I have been frequently in Lake County, and my father-in-law is a 30-year resident. So every day I have to answer to the incident commander, and after that, a phone call from my father-in-law wanting to know what's up. So when we arrived, we transitioned with the chief and our department that had initial attack, and bear with me if I get my days mixed up a little bit, but that started on Wednesday. So Thursday, the fire was making a rapid push to the west after its initial involvement down towards Morgan Valley. That night, started heading down towards Jerusalem Valley. Those that live down there Thursday night would recollect a lot of ash and smoke. We got through that night keeping it north of Jerusalem Valley. On Friday, and the chief of Clear Lake will attest to, there was a wind shift about 9 in the morning till mid-afternoon, and covered the town and the community with ash when the wind switched to the east. And I think smoked in most of the town. And that's quite concerning. I've been there before when you have to turn on your wiper to get the ash off. But again, through good efforts with the air and ground resources, they were able to keep it basically east of the dam area where you can see the line currently. Saturday, yesterday, again, another long day. The first thing in the morning, the aircraft officer flying overhead indicated it's the most intense activity, if that's possible, that he had seen the last 3 days. So we knew we were in for a long Saturday. At 12 o'clock Saturday, the fire broke across Cache Creek in the north, in the wilderness area. And we knew we had planned on it getting to Highway 20. We didn't plan on getting there so rapidly. That was 12 o'clock. About 3 o'clock, the fire shifted under a very strong south-southwest wind. So where my hand is was the fire perimeter. And from 3 o'clock Saturday, yesterday, to about 2,000 hours, that's 5 hours, the fire grew 22,000 acres. 2,000 acres. And even in my career, that's a significant movement. It had a 10-mile front that came and confronted a full front on Highway 16 to the Highway 20 intersection and back. So where we are right now after last night, the troops held Highway 16 from Cache Creek after evacuating all the campgrounds all the way up to Highway 20. They turned the corner and continued back, heading towards Walker Ridge Road. As of this meeting, they're halfway between Walker Ridge, and I don't know how else to call it, but they call it Dead Man's Curve. It's the 90-degree corner coming out of Wilbur Springs. So that's where they are right now, holding Highway 20, and trying to keep ahead of the fire in the wildlife area coming up. So here we are Sunday, I think it is Sunday, right? And as I came in here, operations, we supervise the people in the yellow, the red engine, that's our job, the tactical operations after the instant commanders give us the objectives. There's 3 of us, one of them's out in the field day for 12 hours, one of them will come on tonight at 7 o'clock for 12 hours, and I'm a deputy that sort of covers between the two and then has the honor of coming to these community meetings and explain what's going on. So I'm 1/3 to blame if there's an issue, okay? Just 1/3. But I don't think there's an issue because what I've seen is really, really hard work. So what I started to say as I walked in here, it's heating up. I'm hearing on the radio aircraft activity again on the city side. Within our control lines, be north of the dam. Hearing activity heating up in the wilderness area below Highway 20, I would say south of Walker Ridge Road. And we have a long day and evening ahead of us. We're trying our darndest to stay ahead of this, and you'll hear it before, but everyone, from the top down, the locals included, have talked about the kind of fire behavior that we haven't seen, and I'd have to attest to that. I mentioned 40 years, maybe in this county, and it's a very unique year. Some of the rules are thrown out just because of the intensity and the spread. And I think we've been fortunate that we haven't had any serious injuries with civilian or emergency personnel. We want to keep that record, and we also want to keep ahead of it the best we can. We appreciate your cooperation in helping us in that endeavor. And there will be questions about operations. If I'm here, I'll answer them, but my boss is well versed in the same subject because he worked with me in the same position before he promoted, which I'm sure he regrets by now. Is that about covered, Scott? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. He is my boss, by the way. Okay, just a couple facts. There's 180 engines on this incident right now as I speak. You have 56 bulldozers, 37 hand crews. You have over 2,000 personnel, like I said before, on this incident trying to get a handle on it. All right, I'd like to introduce Lake County Sheriff Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Scott. Scott's going to keep it brief. I'll try. I can't thank everyone that's come here to help our community. There's not enough time to do that, but a few notables I want to mention are my fellow sheriffs in the surrounding areas have been tremendous help. Sheriff Robertson from Napa, Sheriff Allman from Mendocino, Sheriff Prieto from Yolo County, and Sheriff Rothman from Palooza. They've been a tremendous help sending over resources to help us out. The CAL FIRE leadership, the leadership that's been demonstrated in this is astounding. I want to thank Senator McGuire, Congressman Thompson, members of our Board of Supervisors as well. Again, that's by far not everybody we need to thank for coming to our community and coming to our aid, but a short list. Agencies that are working together here, you're going to see all kinds of agencies throughout the county. You're going to see CAL FIRE, Office of Emergency Services, the Sheriff's Office, Clear Lake Police Department, those sheriff's offices that I mentioned, Fish and Wildlife, State Parks, Highway Patrol, BLM, Animal Control, Air Quality, Public Works, and many, many more coming from all across the state and sometimes from outside of the state to help us out. What we're hearing here, I'm not a fireman, I don't have a big history in it, but I know a really bad fire when I see one, and I see one. And what the firefighters are telling us, and they're telling you here today, is that this is unprecedented fire activity. It is more dangerous than normal, and they're taking all kinds of precautions to make sure that we are safe and make sure that they are safe while they're protecting us. When you talk about the fire spreading 22,000 acres, to put that in perspective, the city of Clear Lake is only 6,400 acres. So that means it spread almost 4 times the size of the city of Clear Lake in a matter of 5 hours. It's going quick, folks, and so a lot of the decisions that we make are driven because of the way this fire is behaving. I'm here mainly to talk about evacuations and repopulation efforts. The evacuation notifications that we issue, there are 2 types. We will have either a mandatory evacuation, which means get out and get out now, or you will have an advisory notification, advisory evacuation. That means be prepared to get out. Start gathering your belongings, find out what's important to you, find a place to take your pets if you have any, get your medications, get your valuable things that cannot be replaced, and be prepared to leave. And it also means that if you are able to leave, please do. Please find somewhere to go, because if a mandatory evacuation comes, with people that have already left the area, it will make it easier to get those that have stayed behind out in a safe and timely manner. Please heed these notifications. It is very important that you heed them. We've had a lot of cooperation with the communities, particularly up at Double Eagle Ranch. We went through ahead of time and made some advisory notifications, and it was very effective. It ensured their safety. We know that it's very inconvenient when you're displaced and asked to leave your home, and we will do everything that we can to get you back as soon as we can. That is a priority for us. We understand the inconvenience, but we also want to make sure that you're safe, and we will not lift these evacuations until we are certain that it is safe to do so. There's a lot of things that go into the decision to repopulate and allow you back in. We evaluate all kinds of things. PG&E personnel are on hand to see if power lines are down. We have our public services department out checking road conditions to make sure that the roads haven't been damaged. Of course, we have fire personnel finishing up their mop-up efforts, and then they may still be working in the area. So if you return to an evacuated area before you get the official word to do so, you might hinder their efforts and cause them safety problems and cause yourself safety problems. So please, please, please keep our warnings. There's a lot of hidden dangers that are out there that you may not be aware of. I know we look out there and we say, hey, the fire's way over the hill. But what happened recently in another fire that was close by is that they thought it was safe, they thought it was out, and conditions changed. The motto of this fire to me seems to be it's unpredictable, and it does all kinds of things that these guys have not seen in years past. And so we don't want somebody to go back into an area and tell them it's okay before it's safe to do so. With that being said, be sure that if there's an evacuation advisory, or you hear of an evacuation, or an order that you can return to your location, be sure to verify it with one of these sources, either the Office of Emergency Services, the Sheriff's Office, or CAL FIRE. If you hear from a friend, or you see something on Facebook or the internet, hey, it's okay to go back to such and such location, come check with the actual resources that put that information out to make sure that that information is accurate before you return. We have a process in place. We're going to make sure, we're going to go through and make sure that these areas are safe. And that is, again, I want to stress this, for your safety as well as the safety of the first responders. The Animal Control Director, Bill Davidson, also asked me to put out, we're caring about the animals too. There is a staging point located at the Department of Social Services for animals that are displaced out of the mandatory evacuation areas. They will not hold the areas there, but we're working with partners in the community for livestock, horses, large animals, those types of things, to arrange locations for them, as well as locations for household pets. So if you're in an evacuated area and you have a need to have a pet located or some livestock located, Department of Social Services down on Highway 53 is the place to go. close this by saying I'm so proud of the work that CAL FIRE has done coming to our community. They've done such a professional job. You guys beat me to the punch. We're supposed to hold the applause, but I was going to tell you applause for these guys and not hold punch. So we really appreciate what you guys are doing. If this thing had gone unchecked, it would have devastated many, many lives. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming and helping out our community. Please support these guys. A lot of people want to volunteer and bring stuff down. These guys are truly self-contained. They bring a little city down there, down to the Instant Command Center, and they have everything they need. People are wanting to donate to water, Gatorade, food, pastries, and all those things. If you're going to do that, keep in mind 2,000 people. I don't have enough Gatorade in my closet to feed 2,000 people. These guys are self-contained. Take your resources. They do appreciate the support, and what they would appreciate is to see that support when they go by, a friendly wave, a hello, a sign up that says, hey, thank you, firefighters. If you feel that you want to help out, the shelters are set up. We have a shelter set up at Kelseyville High School and Middletown High School. I'm sure that the Red Cross is always looking for supplies. There are people that Kelseyville's closing. Middletown High School. Okay. And your donations to the Red Cross are greatly appreciated. They strongly, in the Salvation Army, they strongly support our efforts. So those are the proper venue for those donations and items to go to. Again, we're glad to be here. We're glad to answer questions. If we have to cut out of here early to get back, it's not because we don't care, it's because we have a lot of work to do. Some of us will be sticking around to answer questions later. Thank you again for your time, and thank you, CAL FIRE, for your friends.
Next, I'd like to introduce Chief Blossom from the Clear Lake Police Department. I told I was going to make him talk for 20 minutes, wasn't it?
Well, I was going to, but Brian just took 15 of my 20 minutes, so thank you everybody for showing up. It shows the support of the community and the concerns for the event that's happening. I'm going to mimic everything that Sheriff Martin has said. CAL FIRE, truly professional organization. The unity of command and the information that's being shared within that command center is absolutely marvelous. When the event started, that wing shift came back as well as a county event that truly didn't affect the city of Clear Lake, so I had donated some resources for evacuations in case that was necessary. It quickly turned that we needed those resources. We had 45 law enforcement officers and church and rescue that were at our disposal to make those notifications. Truly amazing. We're still working on the advisory for the Avenues area. As you can tell, I'll do my banner. The Avenues area of the city of Clear Lake, the fire is still progressing this way. The concern, the reason we're releasing the advisories is because when it moves from here to here in 4 hours, we don't want to winch it and go this way. The men and women that are out there on the line are doing everything they can to make that not happen. But thank you once again. I really appreciate the support.
That's right, I think. Thank you. Next, I'd like to bring up the Board of Supervisors in District 2, Jeff Smith.
Thank you, Mike. Craig. Thanks, Brian. I didn't know you looked over my shoulder and got about 3/4 of my stuff, so I really do appreciate that. As most of you know, I believe that action speaks louder than words, and if it wasn't for CAL FIRE here, we have got all the action we can handle here. It's great to have you here. I just want to really thank the 2,000 men and women that are out there on the line, and I want to thank all of you for coming. I was shocked to see this many people here, and it's astounding that you need to get the real information and not a lot of the misinformation that's out there. The only thing that I guess Brian didn't cover was we wanted to thank the Office of Emergency Services from other counties, Mendocino County, Sonoma County, Monterey County, Marin County, Santa Clara, San Francisco Department of Emergency Management, Calvet and Yountville, the Governor's Office for Emergency Services. We couldn't be doing all this without them. So the other thing I want to add that Brian didn't cover for me is that the county's working with the state to set up a local assistance center that will bring all the organizations that help recovery. And if you have a pin ready, or you can, well, I'm sure we'll have this posted everywhere. The
the Governor's Office of Emergency Services. We have Joey Travesero right here to my right, and of course I want to introduce Marissa, who is running the show in the Office of Emergency Services in the County of Lake. And thank both of these amazing women for all of their work. What I'd like to be able to do today is provide you an update on 3 areas. Talk about state resources now and in the future. Number 2, I'd like to be able to focus on recovery efforts. And then number 3, talk about some additional communication here later in the week. I too want to take a moment to say thank you to California. They are working day in and day out to make sure that Lake County has the protection that they need. I'm very grateful. And also to all the firefighters who are coming from across the state and frankly across the West here in Lake County. We cannot thank them enough. I do want to say thank you to Cal OES. We have an amazing team from Sacramento, from across California, here in Lake County. Of course, the County of Lake. And he's thanked a lot of folks. But the Lake County Sheriff Martin has been amazing. And I just want to take a moment to thank Sheriff Martin and his amazing team. And everything he did and of course, PG&E, the Salvation Army, the Red Cross, and we talk about an amazing advocate at the federal level, also Congressman Thompson, for his incredible work and decades of service here in Lake. What I'd like to be able to do is to say this. Our job at the state is to make sure that Lake County has the resources we need to be able to get through this natural disaster and to be able to thrive in the recovery phase. And that is our top priority. I had the honor to talk to Sheriff Martin 2 or 3 times a day since this fire has started. I'm in daily contact with the state director of the Office of Emergency Services. In fact, I talked to him on the way over here today. And I'd like to be able to say what he told me and what we've heard. Because of historic dry conditions, the 4th year of California drought, we are seeing unprecedented fire activity with the Rocky Fire. It's erratic, it's massive, it's burning hot, and because of the wind, we see this fire burning in all directions. And that is why the state of California is throwing everything we've got to make sure we're able to get this fire out and to keep all of you safe. As you know, Governor Brown has declared a state of emergency for the state of California. That means resources are flowing into Lake County. We've heard that there are 2,000 firefighters on the front lines right now. Dozens of agencies from across California are here in Lake County, and frankly, we have firefighters from across the West that are here now and are going to continue to flow in. I'd like to give you some updated numbers about resources that are coming into the state. Approximately 400 additional firefighting hand crews have been activated across western states and will be landing at McClellan Air Force Base later today and deployed to the Rocky as well as other fires burning in California. Approximately 14 California National Guard hand crew firefighting teams have been activated as of Friday. In addition to what is here now, we're going to see each of these teams, a total of 20 individuals in each team, out on fire lines by Wednesday of this week. And I say Wednesday because they have mandatory safety training that they're going through right now. We have 8 National Guard helicopters that have now been out activated. Chinooks and Blackhawks, many are active on the Rocky Fire. And in addition, we have requested and received 2 Nevada National Guard helicopters that are also active on the Rocky as well as other fires in the state of California. I'd like to talk about other air resources. 2 massive C-130 4-8 bombers have been brought up from the Channel Islands in Southern California. They are now active on the Rocky Fire. And just today, we have requested additional C-130s, and we've been granted one from Colorado and another from Wyoming. They're heading to California right now, and because of the massive size of this fire, sure that you will see at least one of those on the Rocky Fire. I'd like to talk about what you're going to see on the ground in the coming days. First of all, some good news coming from the federal government. I want to say thank you to Congressman Thompson for his advocacy on this as well. We have received the Fire Management Assistance Grant. This is from President Obama's Disaster Relief Fund. This grant is going to do 2 things for the County of Lake. Number 1, it's going to ensure that federal resources flow
uninterrupted to the state of California and, of course, here in the Rocky Fire. And it's going to ensure that 75% of all costs associated with fighting this fire can be recouped by both local, state, and tribal governments. So that is significant assistance coming in from the federal government. Now, despite that this fire is still raging, recovery efforts have already begun. And I do want to take a moment to say thank you to Ms. Travisero, who is the Regional Director for the Office of Emergency Services from the Governor's Office. The Governor's Office of Emergency Services now has a team of recovery specialists here on the ground in Lake County. And they are working hand in hand on assessment of damages. I'm going to tell you, because of the erratic nature of this fire, assessment for damages has been difficult. And it is going to be a long-term project. That said, I'm making this promise right now. The California Office of Emergency Services is here for the long haul. We are ready and willing to assist residents, businesses, and property owners with your claims. And Ms. Travisero is going to be able to work with you on any questions that you may have in just a bit. In addition, Ms. Travisero, who is the regional administrator, is here in Lake County for the duration. She is running these operations on behalf of the state OES, and we're very grateful for that, and working hand in hand with Marissa, who is doing an amazing job. As you heard, Cal OES has also brought in emergency managers from across the Bay Area. Again, cannot say thank you to Sonoma, Encino, Marin, Monterey, San Francisco, and Santa Clara counties for bringing in our emergency managers to be able to cope with the volume of work that is coming through. And then finally, we'll end it with this. We want to make sure that we keep communication transparent and flowing. Obviously, looking at the Lake County OES Twitter feed and Facebook is really important. We are also going to be having a second meeting. It was already scheduled for August 6th. It's this Thursday. It's going to be at 6:30 p.m. at Clear Lake High School in Lakeport. We will have representatives from the OES, Sheriff, Board of Supervisors, Caltrans, Office of Education, as well as CAL FIRE at that upcoming meeting, August 6th, 6:30, Clear Lake High School in Lakeport. Again, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today and committed to working with you now and in the months to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator. Next, Congressman Mike Thompson, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming out. And I just want you to know that we, all of us, are just care deeply about what's happening here and the loss that so many people have experienced. I'm at that part of the agenda where everything's been said, but everyone hasn't yet said it. So I'll be a little brief. I want to reiterate thank yous to all the people who've done so much. CAL FIRE, all of our public safety folks who were here on the ground. Yeah, give them a hand. They all put their life on the line to make sure the rest of us are safe. And that goes for the public safety folks from the surrounding counties who are here to help. I know both last night and this morning I was with Sheriff Robertson, and that's all he was talking about is how we can help, what's going on, his concern. So it flows across public safety sectors all around the area. These folks are here every day, 24/7, to make sure we're safe. So thank you all very, very much for doing that. This is an erratic fire, as you heard. I was here on Friday. The briefing that I got, it was spot on when you told me exactly what was going to happen, the doubling of the acreage. The wind was blowing one way. All the predictions were that it would continue to blow that way. It was looking safe in one part of the county. And before I left the county, the wind had already shifted. And you know, on Friday, you couldn't see anything throughout Lake County because of the ash and the smoke. And this is what these guys are having to contend with. I've never seen a fire this bad before, but I can tell you that you can rest assured you will never see a group of professionals any better than these guys and girls that are working this. They are absolutely top-notch, and we should all feel very, very fortunate for that. I also want to mention that Cal the best, absolutely the best. We've worked together on a number of natural disasters. The latest was the earthquake in Napa. They were there 24/7. They saw us through the disaster, and they stayed there, and they saw us through the recovery. So when the county and OES tells you what to do and how to go about doing it, please listen to them, comply. That's going to be essential in making sure that we get full recovery. And I want you to know that Senator Mike McGuire and Assemblyman Bill Dodd, representing this county at the state level, they're none better. They will work tirelessly to make sure that we get the help that we need. And make sure that OES is here, OES gets the resources they need to make sure that Lake County is taken care of. So we're in pretty good hands. And again, thank you all very much for coming out. Public safety, men and women, thank you all. It's an honor to be here with you, and we will be here till the end. My commitment to you is I'll do everything I can to marshal all the resources possible to make sure that we get out of this hole. Thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce Cal Fire's Lieutenant Dean 2, IC Scott Linder.
Okay, I just need to close with a couple comments. A lot of thank yous here. We really appreciate that. The cooperation between agencies is outstanding. But I want to bring the focus back real quick to your local firefighters and law enforcement in this community, because they're the ones that protect you day in and day out. When this fire goes out, our big incident management team is going to leave, and all your local folks are still going to be here for you, responding to every one of the emergencies that you have on a daily basis. And I need a round of applause for your local folks. Stand in this stadium without saying, "Go Trojans." All right, now to get back serious. We're not out of the woods on this fire yet, so I don't want to leave here thinking that we're not. There's a lot of work that really needs to be done. You've heard it already. We got unprecedented fire behavior on this fire. We still have a lot of hard work to do. We still have evacuations in place. We might have to evacuate some more people. There's some great handouts and some great information here. The Ready, Set, Go program for evacuations that explains it all. I want to make sure that you get a chance to look through that stuff and that you're prepared. So today is August 2nd. If I have my days right, I can run together like Mike Schrock was also. But I want to make sure that we have some situational awareness. We have a long road to go once we get this fire out to get to the rest of this fire season because of this drought. So please, your safety and the safety of our folks is utmost importance to me. And I just wanted to bring it right back to that serious note because we're not out of the woods yet. Thank you.
To reiterate what Chief Linder said, if you go on the website, fire.ca.gov, it'll give you pretty much all the information you need in relation to the wildfire, as well as Ready, Set, Go programs. One spark, one less spark as well. Okay, in the back up there, where you came in, there's ice chests full of water. Please take some when we are done here in a while. Keep hydrated. And the information numbers in the back. The band back there are for you, for fire information. Seems like I can find it. So, Rocky Fire Call Center. We're staffing our call center 24 hours a day. You're not talking to a recording, you're talking to a person. We've had a few calls in the middle of the night where somebody calls in and, oh, you're real, and hang up real quick. It's very good. That's not good. And then we have Lake County OES info line. Call them at the numbers on the back as well, but they're at 707-263-2360. And that will explain to you, they give you directions where to go to help you in the time of need, to say the least. All right, we're going to start with the question and answer segment. We're going to have 2 microphones coming out. So when we start, if you have a question, please raise your hand and give a direction as to whom you would like to ask a question to. All right. You ready, Joe? One here, Chief.
Just wondering about Channel 8 is a local station and is there information that comes out? I mean, I'm just seeing what the Bay Area is and it's not, I don't have a computer. I want to know what's happening all the time. So, do you have a Channel 8 local station?
Well, right there.
I know, but is it on?
You can call the call center for updated information if that doesn't work.
No, I didn't have the number for you.
The numbers on the back wall that you can write down. See that where she's pointing right there behind the one?
Channel 8 is going to keep us informed.
We send out information at least twice a day, if not 3 or 4 times a day, through all the major networks in the area to get that information out.
God bless the firemen and women.
Thank you. Over here.
Terry. Thank you guys that did a real good job.
Hold up.
But it's what I'm curious about is how much stuff.
How far is the fire going
One more time, one more. How far what?
How much danger is there of fire back into the corridors?
In the border horse area?
Please go around. Go around.
Okay, I'll answer that for you right now. As was brought up earlier, you need not to be complacent. As you've seen the last couple of days, this fire has turned on itself several times, has a very erratic fire behavior because of the fire, and as far as the fire weather that's turned up by the fire. So there's no real answer, it depends on what Mother Nature does, but be prepared. Not out of the woods by any means. Whatever it is at this time is what it's going to say. We can answer that question a little later. We have the map in the back. All right, back to you.
My daughter's coming in from Nevada as of right now. How does she get here? I don't know what roads. I know 20 is closed and 16 is closed, but I don't know that way.
Okay, over here. What was it?
Where did they say you could see?
She's asking about the air quality. Air quality?
Talking about air quality. On Friday, we did have some high input levels, which are considered as special, sensitive to pollution stuff.
You're not going to make it through this way.
No, I know. But since Friday, we've had good air throughout most of the Lake County area. The Highway 24 north course is probably not doing so well. It's not doing so well at all.
Excuse me, can you send me that ready one, please? Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
16 kVA or something like that. That's much more season than we are right now.
Thank you. Over here.
Hi, I'm Melissa, and I'm representing St. Wayne Hospital Clinic. Just want to know if there's a way we can really mobilize efforts for aid for folks who place, and who's coordinating. Would that be the Red Cross? And how can we get, to become an integral part of that? How can we become an integral part of the mobilization efforts for aid to injured or displaced folks?
Okay. How can you volunteer basically to help? You have various organizations, Red Cross, you want to talk about that? Salvation Army? Okay. They'll be available for questions after. Salvation Army will be right there. We'll do a face-to-face on there. All right, there we go. Go.
How is the determination to evacuate aid? Is it based on like how many miles
tag team this answer. We work really closely together in evaluating everything. The local resources here bring the local knowledge of what the populated areas are. These guys bring the expertise on what the fire may or may not do. And when it comes down to it, we really want to make sure that everybody is safe. So if there's an error to be made on whether or not we should evacuate or give an advisory, we always try to play it safe. I'd rather err on the side of caution. I'd rather be wrong. Wrong, have somebody get injured or killed. So we look at what the fire is doing, where it's going. We're taking into consideration that this fire is very unpredictable. It's doing things that no other fires have done before, according to these guys. And we're taking every precaution to make sure that everyone in this room remains safe. One of the testaments to this fire, obviously all fires are deadly, and these forest fires are even deadlier than normal. But we haven't had anybody seriously injured yet. We haven't had any loss of life. It's a testament to the professionalism that these guys are demonstrating and the cooperation that we're receiving in our community meeting those evacuation warnings. So there's a lot of work that goes into it. We take a lot of advice from the experts in the fire brigade review.
So the sheriff covered that really well, but I want to back up to the fire side just a little bit. So when the fire initially took off, one of your local battalion chiefs that lives in this area, Greg would tell you, and your local fire chief from Lake County Fire, Willie Cepeda, they were in the area. And what happens initially is they set up the initial incident command post to fight the fire right from the start. And then the sheriff's office sends deputies to meet with them at the command post. And then they start talking about where the fire is going and how they're going to do it. And that's how they initially happen in the first period, the first operational period. And then from that point, once the team comes in, we bring a whole bunch of people with us. And we have a liaison shop over here that has both fire and law enforcement liaison officers. Raise your hand for them, guys. And then also CP is part of our liaison there too. And then they work not directly with IC, but they work directly with the Sheriff's Department to help coordinate that. And that's how those efforts come to play.
Some of the things we did right off the bat was when that fire started shifting down towards Clear Lake, we had a series of my board of directors and volunteers twice, but all the Lower Lake spotted and calling back in this update. Those individuals on the property there, they're aware of it. We maintain a situation awareness the entire time. We set up a small command structure at our station with several members from the audience that supported that effort. So there were continuously individuals that grew up in this area who knew the trigger points and the areas in which we feed information back up to support efforts that could be seen in the area.
So real quick, because some people have been here a long time and there's a lot of questions, I just want you to know that we have different maps up throughout the room here, and as soon as we're done taking questions, we're going to hang out, and you can go find and talk to Red Cross Salvation Army about how to volunteer. You can come talk to CHP about road closures. You can talk to the sheriff about evacuations. You can talk to PG&E about whether or not your power is going to get turned back on or any concerns you have with that. We also have the BLM here because a lot of this fire, I'm not sure if it's been mentioned yet, but is in the BLM wilderness area. And there was also a national monument declared through that area recently through our local government helping that out. So that's real important.
Thanks, Pete. Over here.
Hello. I want to find out about the barrier supply. That's, if you take Morgan Valley Road south, it ends up in Spanish Track at Lake Berryessa, and you guys have been fighting a fire, which is like 30 miles away or whatever from ours. Are they going to meet?
No, Berryessa fire is over 90% contained at this time, and it's going back to the local agencies to take care of it tomorrow.
It's not my plan for them to meet, but they have the same similar command structure and amount of people that we have here, and now that their fire is out and they're able to lead it, I'm gathering resources that I'm short from their fire to come help us here.
I just wanted to know, so far it's been rolled with some public damage. Are you saying that it could possibly come into the city of Clear Lake proper?
Actually, honestly, I am. When the runs that it's been making, with the intensity that it has, and you heard spot fires earlier, and what a spot fire is that fire front's coming down and it's throwing embers out there. And those embers that are coming down, they're hitting dry areas and starting new fires. And they usually are ahead, those spot fires are ahead of the main fire. And then as those grow in intensity, they actually kind of suck each other together. So we were really concerned. Willie, the chief from Lake County is probably the better person to talk about this because he knows the area a lot better than I do. But we were really concerned up by the dam and in that area this other night.
No, this is just our. Yeah, and we continue to monitor that. Our station is fully staffed, the mutual aid auto agreement with our operatives around the county. Several individuals have on that area, watching it, monitoring it, because there's a series of processes up to the hand staff. We continue to monitor that, and when we feel uncomfortable, we pass that on, and they listen, and they're getting involved, and that's kind of what happened when that fire went to look and started heading that way. And that's what the advisory and we all our previous advisory we put in. Even today, we still have people that are watching those and monitoring. There have been primary, secondary, and tertiary control lines set in place in the event. So we continue to monitor that, even though, the station, nobody's around the station, or nobody's next to it. People are monitoring that. And what they do is over here, Mike Thomas, continue to monitor that. That's the areas of the property. Anything changes, and it's going to when that turning point comes, and then goes down this way, please listen.
Yeah, we have to have plans.
That evacuation and leave as quickly as possible.
Yes, they do. They're amazing.
I will get that just in a moment. That was a very good question to ask here. I'm not glad that the answer was the answer that Scott had, but I'm glad that he gave that answer. We have evacuation advisories in for the areas of the Chapman Track east of Highway 53. And what I said earlier was that an advisory means that you don't have to leave right now, but you need to start preparing because the possibility is there. So that was not the answer that he wanted to give here, but definitely a very honest answer. I'm glad he did it. And again, we really want to stress the importance that when you get those evacuation advisories, you start taking those preparations. We don't know what's going to happen. And so we want you to really be careful. When we talk about evacuation, we'll get notifications out by reverse 911 for hard lines. If you don't have a hard line and you have a cell phone only, I suggest you sign up for Nixle. That's nixle.com. We will send out notifications. You'll receive notifications on your cell phone or by email, and we'll also do door-to-door evacuation when mandatory evacuations come in. So we are reaching out everywhere we can to make sure that we reach every person that's in the affected evacuation area. Again, cannot stress enough how important it is to listen to these evacuation advisories and follow the evacuation orders when they come.
My question is actually for everyone else in the room. Can I ask you all to help us mitigate the misinformation and the speculation that's out there by right now taking out your phones and tweeting, Facebooking, Instagramming, Snapchatting, whatever social media that you use, the numbers and the email addresses or the web addresses that have been given here today. That's 263-2360 and Nixle.com and
fire.ca.gov.
And anytime you hear anyone talking about it, go ahead and put those numbers right back in so that we can get the real information out there.
Okay. We're also on Facebook and Twitter.
A lot of us really appreciate these maps, they're wonderful, but we don't necessarily know the interpret. I just wondered who would be talked to after to be able to understand what
When you go to a map, you're going to find a PIO or somebody from fire service there with you. So when we're done here,
it's
we
an
have
advice
to
that isn't necessarily clear to us, we're not professionals.
No, we'll be here to explain to you. Not a problem. Go on up to the map, we got a few back here as well. Nope. Let's go.
I am one of the people who have the advisory, and I'm also an educator, and I know a lot of parents are here today wondering, mentioned we're going to have the next meeting on the 6th. How quickly will they determine not that unified school district and even colleges closures that are supposed to start next week?
For the Alphabet Flexible District, non-technology
So I got a question in the middle of these other questions. It was a really good one. It asked a little bit more in depth about an evacuation advisory. And the sheriff covered this, but I want to reiterate it. So the advisory is saying, we think that it has potential to get to your area. You need to think about leaving. Think about what you're going to take. Like you said, the Ready, Set, Go program is a great thing to read so that you can prepare you ahead of time on how all that works. But then the other side of that is if you're disabled, or you have special needs, or you have special needs people in your family that you need to get out, and it would be hard to get out if you were told go right now, then those types of issues we want you to leave now. We want you to start doing it so that it's easier for you to get out of it. Also, if you have animals and that kind of thing, we want you to be thinking about getting those out and moving them out. Another one that you couldn't have any of those issues, but you could live down a really long, narrow driveway, like there's none of those around, right? And it could be in a spot that's hard to get out, that's a one-way in, one-way out, and if you get the advisory in that area, we want you to go. So the bottom line with the sheriff working with us is we're not going to put on an advisory for an area unless we think that you're a legitimate threat. What that advisory is saying is it's saying that we have a little bit more time than leave right now. Does that kind of cover what you're asking? So an advisory means that it definitely has the potential to get to your area. And if you have any kind of special issues that we talk about, it would be good for you to go now. Right?
Governor resident of Clear Lake, I'd just like to know in the event of another massive wind shift, let's say west, it's the predominant threat to the city of Clear Lake when it comes from the north on Highway 20, let's say. I mean, we have to fear very much coming from the areas that have already been burned because of lack of fuel, or those sparks from those areas, even when it's burned, create another problem, especially with myself on this side.
Again, we do not want you to be complacent. Anything is possible. The east winds that pushed that fire the other day, the 20,000 acres, were not what I am told common in this area. We have more western winds. So, heat. Yes, yes, there is fuel. There's enough fuel to do something.
The city of Troy, not necessarily from the north. It
No.
could be from the areas that have already been burned too.
Correct.
And we're going to take one right here.
Hi, it's Nicole Cook, and I live on East Lake Drive in the park. And I have a couple questions for you. Is the hospital on an advisory? Okay, well, okay. And what are all the exits around here? There are roads that are accessible to me.
So I'm going to give that one to the subject matter expert for the city of Clear Lake, the Chief of Clear Lake Police Department.
Part of the reason for the advisory for the Avenues area in that decision was the limited egress for that area. You're out on East Lake, so you're going to be able to go both out East Lake and then come back into town. You're on the opposite end of what we're talking about here. This is just the Avenues on the side of Highway 53, so on the hospital side of Highway 53. The hospital is in the advisory area, but they're in a shelter place because of the equipment and personnel that they have there that they can take care of their own facility along with Chief Cepeda.
So I just have another question on evacuations and how they kind of work for issues like if you have a mobile home park and you have folks that live in there that don't drive, or you have a hospital or something like that, how do we evacuate those? Well, those are pre-identified between law enforcement and fire as special needs area for evacuation. And so part of the emergency evacuation plans that we set in the communities, we identify those locations on maps and how many folks would be in there, and then we have systems where we use county buses and different things like that to help the people get out of there. Kind of rare for us to evacuate those because they're usually in the city hubs, they're usually not out in the side of the mountain, but we definitely do sometimes, so we need to look into that.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. That kind of answered my question, but I have a huge concern about the population of Clear Lake because so many people walk and don't have vehicles. And so we have a really fast-moving fire. Do you have a plan for that?
And told yes.
And the homeless.
With everybody cooperating, one of the things we looked at, and the plan was put at the county level, was that existing bus stops could be used with a normal bus route taking them out, taking them to a location, but they could be picked up by another mode of transportation, taking them to an area that's safer in other parts of the county. So those things are in place, they will be implemented accordingly as it goes from levels of evacuation and, of course, evaluating the potential threat. In relation to the hospital, we've been in communications with the hospital since the first day. They were put in an advisory, they put HEPA filtration to keep the air clean. I was in communications with their command staff throughout, which went back up to the county. Rick Sanchez and the group up there, they put on fire watch every 15 to 20 minutes. We soaked them areas that were probable areas. We looked at the chances we had to bypass that hospital. During this whole event, we didn't see an increase in respiratory calls. We didn't see an increase in 911 calls for service. Our district runs about 300 to 500 calls a month, and we didn't see an increase during this series of fire activity. So those are the ones on the transportation, those that don't walk, or don't have vehicles. It's those bus stops that we implemented. That would be part of that safety message out, door to door, through the emergency alert system. And then, of course, our number one is maintaining that hospital in working order because it's a critical asset to our community.
Ready for the next question, Chief?
There's a kerosene depot located at the end of Main Street, Lower, in Northern Valley Road. What steps have been taken to mitigate that threat and other threats like that that are under the evacuation?
You're right, Little River. We have Little River, we have the propane setup across from the flea market. All of those are done throughout the year as target hazards for our department. So when we look at that, that may be blocked down that section of Main Street and Lower Lake. We may go through Winchester, Big Bear, back to Lake Street, secondly Lake Street, out to Highway 53 in those areas. And it's all based on the potential threat. All of the fire districts around the county look at those target hazards, and they come into play when we do our evacuation routes, is that in the event of, so we work with those individuals throughout the year to make sure that they have some fire protection prior to fire season coming in, so that they have some defensible spaces and that protective actions in place in the event of that's going to be fire adjacent to their areas.
Okay, I have a couple things to add real quick, and then we're going to go with one more question, and then we'll be here to answer any questions face to face after that. First of all, OES does have a transportation plan in effect for those in need. I have seen it. So that's that question up there. Secondly, when you leave your home for an evacuation, you have propane, turn the propane tank off, but leave your electricity on, please. If you have a pump and a well, it helps us get that water. All right, last question.
Yes, I'm worried about the elders who don't have cell phones, who don't have computers, that live alone, and maybe if they're on the system, I'm sure somebody from the social services will do that. But I've got a couple on my neighborhood that don't have cell phones, that don't have anything. And how are they supposed to get this information besides door to door, everything, and immediate evacuation? I know neighbors are going to kick in. But is there some kind of phone system or like a hospital use phone systems, but is there something like that set up for them?
Yes.
In addition to the electronic or media or hard lines that are in there, we have people that will go out and talk about those resources. When that link shifted, we physically had law enforcement and search and rescue going up and down the streets and the avenues to make notification. That's part of that planning is because of the time that we needed, and we discussed that with the incident command, with the time frame, the terrain, the wind, and everything else. For the students of Kanaka Unified School District, they have an all-call that will lean on in addition to what the sheriff's department has. But if nothing else, if no one has a cell phone or any type of communication, we will go door to door. And that's why we're trying to get that time frame that we can't do door to door. And by the grace of God, we don't want to do that again.
We've heard, and thank God when we make, and I just rattle until I can get an answer. So it's kind of concerning. There are a lot of people that don't have
go. We can't get in the road, we absolutely got it.
Hi, I'm Dominic, the superintendent for not getting invited. Thank you all for coming out today. Regarding the opening of school on August 12th, we are planning to open as scheduled. If anything changes, we will be using our on-call system to notify people. Also, make sure you downloaded our mobile app because we'll also be doing push notifications if anything changes. Otherwise, school starts August 12th.
All right, thank you. All right, at this time we'll conclude. I appreciate everybody coming and asking these questions and listening. You're here.